Unfortunately, the network does not disappoint me. Um, I wanted to start this whole stream by doing the South African national anthem. It's so incredible, but I'm not. I don't want to annoy some people. um, but before I start my predictions, basically prediction results video. I'm going to go through the entire UFC 305 card. Um, and yeah, before I get to that, I want to say I'm honestly proud of myself because I've managed to pick Dricus Du Plessis for the last three fight cards, um, which is something I didn't expect. Because a part of me going into UFC 305, I was like, I'm not sure, man. Israel Adesanya is a very talented striker. But after I did my research, I actually ended up discovering that actually, what up? Hi, Tweezy, man. How are you doing? I haven't seen you in the stream in a long time. So I can honestly and proudly say when Robert Whittaker lost to Dricus Du Plessis, I picked him. It's on the channel. You can go back and check. When Dricus Du Plessis beat Sean Strickland, I picked him. It's on the channel. You can go back and check. And obviously, I picked Dricus Du Plessis to beat Israel Adesanya. Um, I'm super happy because of a variety of things. Obviously, it's a big accomplishment for South Africa because we haven't had a UFC champion before. And outside of that, we also won a rugby match. I don't follow rugby, so please do not come for my head. But we won. Basically, the Springboks won. So, like everything is just going incredible for South Africa. I bet him to win the first round against the Rob plus 240. I didn't take his ML though. Yeah, man. That's actually a good bet. Especially because for me personally, I want at least in this fight there weren't that many people trashing me. But when I picked him against Robert Whittaker, there were so many people that were trashing me. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. And now all of a sudden, it's funny to see because all of a sudden people are saying, yeah, this dude is probably working for the casino. Like, since when, guys? Like, my channel is actually profitable since UFC 300. If you placed a $100 bet on every single fight that I've ever predicted on my channel, you would have made profit. I'm not talking about some of my picks. I'm talking about all my picks since UFC 300. You would have been massively profitable. So that means, let's say, for example, you are a wealthy person and you can put like 100,000 on each fight. That would mean like you would have made a significantly large amount of money. So I've been profitable since UFC 300. So it's crazy to hear people saying that I work for the casino and or there are companies, betting companies that are paying me. Like, it doesn't make sense. Why am I profitable then? And actually, I picked a lot of underdogs. Not a lot, but I picked a couple of underdogs on the previous card. And I did pretty decently. I was still profitable because I got 8 out of 4. And I made, like, I actually made a decent amount of money back. For me, as long as I'm not losing, and I'm on a 3 week winning streak. So as long as I'm not losing any money, I'm good. Anyway, back to Dricus Du Plessis. Um, I'm super proud of myself for actually picking him, and also proud of Dracus Du Plessis because it wasn't really looking really great for him in that particular fight, especially in the fourth round. But this is where my predictions and my breakdowns come in, man. Like my breakdowns and upsets predictions are super accurate. If you watch my breakdown for Israel Adesanya for the main event and the co-main event, it was so incredibly accurate. It was like for in fact for the entire card. Obviously, the Gamrot one is the only one that I feel like I didn't necessarily foresee it playing out. Okay, I did, but the fact is, I said it was safe on my predictions. But actually, that's one of the things that I want to go through as well. um, I want to go through the amount of fights that I said were safe and how many of them actually ended up being correct, right? So I want to actually make sure that these prediction results videos are not just me rambling and just recapping. It's me actually showing you that when I say a fight is safe, this is something that I'm going to continue to do from now on. When I say a fight is safe, it means I'm pretty confident, and I'm going to now start recapping the results of that. Before I proceed to start and go through the entire card, I'll get to the Dricus Du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya fight once I get to the top. For now, I'm going to start with the cards at the fights at the bottom, and then I'll work my way up because obviously I made predictions for all the fights on the card. Let me reply to your messages before I start. Wow, there's so many messages. Um, Let me actually respond. There's so many messages. As a black man, I don't know how people can say Izzy is in the race is such a terrible person, but a great fighter. Okay, I hear you. I understand where you're coming from, right? But on my other stream, I try to make that example, right? As far as the race thing is concerned, I can understand why Izzy felt the way he did. Imagine if I made this example. Maybe a lot of people didn't see it. So imagine me as a black person, maybe going to India, having a child there, and then my child eventually becomes a UFC champion. And despite the fact that he's 100% black, he goes in there and then says he's the first Indian um, champion, right? It makes logically it makes sense, but obviously a lot of Indians would have a problem with that. So that's basically where I think he's coming from. But I love the fact that Dricus Du Plessis actually explained that in the octagon and was like, no, I apologize if he felt like I was saying I'm African. I love what Dricus Du Plessis did in the octagon. It's very commendable, especially after winning. Because I know if Israel Adesanya won that fight, oh my goodness, the Nigerians would have had us. Like they would have, it would have been like a party, especially after the Miss South Africa issue that happened. Like it was gonna be a party. Like, yeah, you guys are so xenophobic, and like there was going to be like a really really bad. I don't want to even go further than that, but yeah, I'm happy Dricus Du Plessis won. For South Africa, man, I mean Nigeria has had two champions so far. I think Kamaru Usman as well as Israel Adesanya. I mean, we deserve to at least hold the belt a little bit and be enjoy it at the very least, and it brings more like, and I hope the UFC decides to actually come to South Africa, and hopefully I'm going to be able to attend that. Hopefully I get a media pass. But yeah, there's so much more that I want to speak about. I just want to get through the entire card first. Let me respond to you guys first. I hit like. I appreciate that, man. DDP for president. I could see that. Not gonna lie, Izzy was a little racist. I think I addressed that. It's crazy if anyone's working for the casino. Is the Ian Parker dude from ESPN? I agree, man, Twizzy. And he works for ESPN. Yeah, Whitaker, Strickland, Adesanya. If he wins his next rematch versus Whitaker or Strickland and then beats Hamza, I don't know who has better resume at middleweight in history. That's actually accurate, man. I honestly agree with that. Adesanya lose the fight in the press conference, bro. I honestly don't agree. That's why I say my predictions, my breakdowns actually are very, very incredible because I actually called it. That's why I say specifically the co-main event and the main event. I actually did say that Israel Adesanya gets tired in the fourth and the fifth round. A lot of people think Israel Adesanya has great cardio. I mean, Israel Adesanya was winning that fight, so what was the reason for him to lose? There's no reason. Like I think I said it. I made a dedicated video to that main event, and I did say that I don't know what happens to Israel Adesanya, but something happens in the fourth and fifth round, and I made the example of what do you call him? Alex Pereira actually knocking him out in the fifth round. That's one of the examples I actually made because I saw that Israel Adesanya has a problem when it comes to the fourth and fifth round, and I made also the comparison to Jan Blachowicz, who was able to have success in the later rounds after having success on the feet. I actually did say that in my breakdown. So I don't feel like it was the press conference. I think even if the press conference they were happy and hugging each other, Israel Adesanya, that still would have happened. Because Israel Adesanya, if if you're not pressuring him, if you pressure him actually in the fourth or fifth round, you are probably going to win that fight. Um, anyway, let me let me respond. I feel like the purpose of this stream is going to get overtaken by these many comments, but I'll respond to the comments. Adesanya lose the okay. I got Jared winning, no reason, and maybe because the way the Brazilian blitzes, I don't like it. I'll do a full card prediction for the upcoming fight night. For now, I just want to focus on UFC 305. But Caio Borralho is coming from the Fighting Nerds. That team is incredible. So I mean, I think a solid pick. Even though I feel like Jared Cannonier is a very very dangerous prospect, or rather contender. I mean, um, Glitzy Adesanya is now the gatekeeper. I don't know, man. He's already beaten so many people at middleweight, so it's difficult for me to say that he's a gatekeeper. TND, I don't know what that means. Do you like Trey Period? I don't know who that is. I hope we get Adesanya versus Hamza. Man, after seeing what Dricus Du Plessis did to what do you call him? After seeing what Dricus Du Plessis did to um Israel Adesanya, man, Hamza Chimaev would have had a field day with Israel Adesanya. Um, but of course, let me not say that because what Dricus Du Plessis did actually required cardio. It required what do you call him? Dricus Du Plessis to actually tire out Israel Adesanya and then still be there, even though he looked tired, still have the ability to actually finish the fight in the fourth round. And we know that Hamza Chimaev is a first round kind of guy, and if he doesn't get that, he guesses a little bit. I'm still a massive fan of Hamza Chimaev, but I don't know, man. That first round, easy is very difficult to deal with when he's still dry, right? In the first two rounds, is Israel Adesanya. Let me say the first three rounds, Israel Adesanya is a problem to deal with. But when you get to the fourth and fifth, that's when you can actually finish him. And that's where a lot of times, like he's lost the fight. The Jan Blachowicz fight was close up until it got to the championship rounds. The Alex Pereira fight was close. Actually, Israel Adesanya was winning until he got knocked out. Dricus Du Plessis, it was competitive, and it looked like Israel Adesanya was winning, and then somehow he still lost in the fourth round. So something happens to Israel Adesanya. I don't know what, but I've picked it up and I actually mentioned it in my streams and in my breakdowns. Um, Message retracted. Adesanya spent only 10 years of his live in Nigeria, though. I get that. I understand that. Adesanya would have hit a TikTok dance on his grave if he KO'd Dricus Du Plessis. I agree, man. It would have been brutal if if Israel Adesanya had won that fight. It would have been brutal, um, and he wouldn't have been as gracious. I'm a fan of Israel Adesanya, but I know his character. Like he would have humiliated Dricus Du Plessis if he had won that fight. We all know that. We all know that he's not a very forgiving person unless he loses. That's when he becomes like very understanding and cordial. But if he wins, oh my God, you'll be humiliated for a very long time. Look at what happened since the Costa incident. But let me not blame him for that. Costa has not been good. I'm sorry, but if Dricus has said 1% of what Izzy said, our community would be crying and claiming racism. We have to hold ourselves to the same standards as we do others. I understand that, but I think I explained that. I don't want to dwell too much on the race thing because I feel like it takes away from what Dricus Du Plessis achieved. And he actually did apologize to Israel Adesanya after, and everyone actually who felt offended. But like I said, I explained why I felt like Israel Adesanya felt the way he did. And like I said, also, Drake has actually explained that, and I fully understand what he meant. And that's why, even when I explained this whole situation, I was like, I fully understand because technically he's not wrong, right? So I don't want to dwell too much onto that thing. Real African support. Drake is, no matter his skin color, great champion. Agreed. I respect African heritage and culture, but Izzy is an ambassador is an embarrassment to Africans. Nail polish, doing gay shit with his dog. He had slaves and didn't deny it. Wow. It wasn't slaves, guys. It was helpers. Wow. Damn, that's brutal. So cringe. Such an embarrassment. Wow. I I'm not gonna respond to that. Sean Shelby, I agree, but please do not attribute the dog stuff to Africa. This is just him being a pervert. Wow. You look really cool, man. If you were in the 1800s, I would. Wow. This guy says if we were in the 1800s, he would have bought me because I look cool. He just decided to come into my stream and just be racist. Why? Anyway, I think Jared Cannonier has one last good performance in him, and this is the best matchup for him stylistically. Yeah, I agree. I agree, but I don't think he beats Caio Borralho. Bro, for sure, LOL, if it was a three rounder, he 100% would. Yep, 100% I agree. What's up, bro? How are you, man? Sven, well, you like to troll me. I know that you're going to say something horrible soon. Bro is not a rocket science. If it's fighting, lol, you make one mistake, you get your back taken. It's a wrap. It is rocket science, man. Not rocket science, but it's one of the most complicated things to actually do. You might take for granted what predicting fights, but predicting MMA, combat sports in general, is one of the most challenging things I can imagine doing. Outside of obviously being a scientist, for example, or any of the, I don't know what, I don't want to even go to the comparisons. But here specifically, you are actually trying to predict who's going to win a fight based on things in the past that could easily change if someone goes into camp and actually improves them, right? So if it was easy, I don't think betting companies would have businesses today. They have businesses today because predicting fights is one of the most challenging things you can ever do, and that's why a lot of people lose money, and that's why someone like me has been able. I started my channel last year, and I have 11,000 subscribers. I have over 2.3 million views in just over a year. Those people are not just coming to my channel because it's fun to watch me talk. It's because it's not easy to predict fights. That's all I can say about that. So yeah, it is complicated. Trust me. Let me. DDP style is so sloppy. I don't get it. Yeah, it's sloppy, but the thing is, it works, right? It doesn't matter whether anyone, whether it's like very highly technical or anything like that. As long as it's effective, that's what's important. Um, I find it hard to find middleweight exciting because I believe Hamza Chimaev will dominate if he beats his health issues. I don't see Dricus or Izzy or Sean defending the offensive wrestling. I also agree with that. The point is, Dricus had nothing to apologize about. Okay, man. I'm not going to have this argument. Uh, you dip left when you should dip right, and your knockout. You make a mistake, can be made to pay. It's not really complicated. That the sport. That test one. Okay, man. How about that KK? I've been telling everyone he was gonna upset before the lines even dropped. I was super hyped to see KKF smoke hype job. You can't call Steve Ersic a hype job, man. But I actually did call it. I did say that I feel like Steve Ersic was getting too much hype for losing to a past his prime Pantoja. Dricus is the king of Africa. Hard to dispute that, but South Africa. But at the moment, I'd say Africa makes sense because there's no UFC champion. So yeah, technically he could be. Francis is the king of Africa, in my opinion. Yeah, but he doesn't have a belt, and he recently lost. So I get what the other dude is saying. You look like you look like DDP. Wow, Dricus is king. Francis got his ass handed to him by Joshua. Espinal is the best heavyweight in the world. I could see that. Francis lapped the heavyweight division twice, knocking them out to get the title times two. That's unheard of. He's the man. Yeah, I understand. Keisha, yeah, that's boxing. Very irrelevant reply. It actually took him becoming a star in MMA to get that opportunity. Okay, you know what, guys? I'm not going to go through this if I keep on reading this because let me read. I'll read your replies once I'm done with recapping the whole entire card because I feel like there's so many comments today. It's unusual. I'm surprised even. Let's get to the first fight. Stuart Nickel versus Jesus Aguilar. My subscribers went with Jesus Aguilar. I went with Stuart Nickel. But my subscribers and I said this fight was heavily risky. So if you watched my upsets and my final predictions, I told my people to stay away from this one. I feel like Stuart Nickel looked sensational in that fight. Not sensational, but he looked good. But obviously he got caught. I think it was largely because of experience. I think he's still a good prospect. I think with a little bit more time, he's going to do incredible things in the UFC. But my subscribers got this one correct. That this was the first fight I got wrong on the card. But I'm glad I told my people to stay away from it. On to the next one. Song Kenan versus Ricky Glenn. My subscribers and I went with Song Kenan. My subscribers said that this fight was 60% safe. I said it was 60% risky. I'm going to go through the risky and safe fights on the card that I actually highlighted. For those who are here for Dricus Du Plessis, I'm going to be speaking about him once I get to the top. Once I get to the main event, I'm going through the entire card. Um, so yeah, we picked Song Kanan, and he actually performed how I expected him to perform. So yeah, my subscribers got this one. This is the first safe pick for my subscribers, and they got it correct. Yeah, on to the next one. Tom Nolan versus Alex Reyes. My subscribers and I said this fight was safe. My subscribers said 73%. I said 80%. Wow. Tom Nolan is horrible, man. I honestly don't know why I was so confident. I feel like he's going to lose his next fight. But nonetheless, this is the second fight my subscribers said was safe, and they got it right. This was the first fight I said was safe, and I got it right as well. On to the next one. Jack Jenkins versus Herbert Burns. My subscribers and I went with Jack Jenkins. My subscribers said this fight is 67% safe. I said it's 60% risky. This is the third fight my subscribers said was safe, and they got it right. Jack Jenkins looks like a future contender, man. He looked sensational. So yeah, I'm looking forward to his journey in the UFC, man. I didn't know a lot about him, but I actually picked him based on the research that I did. You know, I do my research. So he looked sensational in that particular fight. Um, but yeah, I'm honestly excited. That was an incredible performance. But once again, my subscribers said this one is safe. So this is the third fight my subscribers said was safe, and it actually was. I'm on 1-0. My subscribers are on 3-0. On to the next one, Casey O'Neill versus Luana Santos. My subscribers and I went with Luana Santos. We said this fight is risky. My subscribers actually said it's 70% risky. I said it was 75% risky, and it actually was. Um, Luana Santos looked horrible. She looked like she didn't deserve to be in the top 15, and which is saying something because Casey O'Neill also looked horrible. You know, so that's what you get. That's why I said this fight was risky. I knew that could happen. Women's MMA, you shouldn't be shocked when things like this happen. Both of them didn't look good. Like, there's nothing positive to say about this. Anyway, on to the next one. Josh Kulibao versus Ricardo Ramos. My subscribers went with Josh Kulibao. I went with Ricardo Ramos. My subscribers and I both said this fight is 100% risky. And we were right. The split decision basically says that. Um, a lot of people are saying it was a robbery and stuff like that. I honestly disagree. I don't feel like that was a robbery. I feel like Ricardo Ramos won the first round because of almost finishing the fight. I saw someone saying, "Well, it doesn't count if someone was almost submitted. It just means you didn't get a submission." And I said something like, Nicole Stuart Nicole almost didn't wake up from that submission. The same way Li Jinglian almost didn't wake up from that knockout. So both are the same. The only difference is that punches cause damage to the face, and then submissions you can't see, but you can still die though. Like I don't understand why people feel like submissions are not dangerous because you can still lose a life, guy. Like punches are not the only way you can lose a life. Like people need to understand. I don't know why people don't understand this. Like I don't know. Anyway, Ricardo Ramos won the first round. Clearly, he was closer to finishing the fight, and he actually deserved to win the first round. The second round, I feel like it was Josh Kulibao's. The third round was close, but I felt like it went to Ramos. I don't think there was any robbery here. But I said that this fight is 100% risky. So did my subscribers. If you didn't listen, then I mean, there's nothing I can do. But yeah, on to the next one. Junior Tafa versus Walter Walker. My subscribers and I said that this fight is risky. My subscribers said it's 83% risky. I said it's 90% risky, and it was. Um, I don't know what Junior Tafa is complaining about. Wow, why would you scream? Why would you scream? Like, it's a fight. Whenever you're screaming, it means you are in so much pain that you are unable to verbalize your tap. So, and I think it's even in the rules. Like, why would you scream if, and then get mad that it got stopped? It doesn't make sense. Both of them are crap. How can you? That was one of the sloppiest takedowns I've ever seen, and he still couldn't. uh, Heavyweight. Both of them, I don't feel like are championship level. I don't even feel like they're good enough to be ranked, but we'll see. Um, On to the next one, Li Jinglian versus Carlos Prates. My subscribers and I said this fight was safe. My subscribers said this fight is 73% safe. I said it's 51% safe. This is the second fight I said was safe. This is the fourth fight my subscribers said was safe, and they got so far they have been correct, right? Which is super impressive in my opinion. Not just in my opinion, like they actually knew which fights were safer to put money on. So I guess maybe it's important for me to do these safe or not safe, or safe or risky recaps and results, so that in future you can decide for yourself whether or not to listen to us when we say a fight is risky or is safe, right? So I think now that I'm doing them, I'm like, wow, this is actually impressive. But yeah, anyway, my subscribers said this fight was safe. My subscribers and I picked Carlos Prates. In the beginning of the fight, I was actually worried for Prates because it looked even, right? But man, the second round, like everything started to change. That knockout was so brutal. I was worried, man. I thought Lee was gone. Like, in all sincerity, I didn't celebrate up until I saw him moving a leg, and then that's when I was like, yeah, I got that one right. But I was so worried for Lee that, man, the fighting nerd boys are, they're insane, man. They're insane. Like, who's the other guy? I forgot his name. The shorter guy. I picked him twice. I picked him at UFC 30. Was it 303? I can't remember the card that Alex Pereira was headlining. I picked him, and then I picked him also against Drew Dober. So um, these dudes are flipping incredible, man. I honestly, I'm speechless. I am speechless. And you know there are those fighters that you feel like are overhyped. These dudes, even if they lose at some point in their careers, I feel like they have the ability to become champions. They are so good, man. Like they're so good. It's hard to put into words how good these guys are. But the fighting nerds, I'm sure I've seen it in the comment section. I the second annual Combat Sports Awards will be on the channel. If you don't know, like it's going to be on the channel, so I'm sure they are going to win. They are voted on by my subscribers, so I'm sure the Fighting Nerds are going to win Gym of the Year. They have been impressive. I mean, Dricus Du Plessis' team deserves it too, also because he came from nothing and actually went on to become a champion and managed to defend it and has beaten former champions in his last three fights. So I feel like Dricus Du Plessis' team also also deserves it to some extent. So maybe that's going to be a little bit of a competition for them. But man, the fighting nerds are impressive. I feel like Carlos Prates is a future title contender. When I look at him, I see what's this kid's name? Who was fighting? Okay, I forgot him. Let me not make this thing longer than it needs to be. So yeah, Li Jinglian lost brutally. On to the next one, Taito Ivasa versus Jairzinho Rosenstrike. My subscribers and I said, so far my subscribers and I have been correct about every safe prediction. Hmm. Where are the people who are saying I work for casinos? Where are they? It's these people. Anyway, Taito Ivasa versus Jairzinho Rosenstrike. My subscribers and I went with Rosenstrike. We said this fight is risky. My subscriber said it's 74% risky. I said it's 70% risky. I feel bad for Taito Ivasa because I feel like he's not taking his career seriously, and I feel like he could be successful if he actually took his career a little bit more seriously. Sadly, I don't know. I guess he's still popular, so maybe him and Tony Ferguson will fight for the longest losing streak. I don't know. But I feel like if Taito Ivasa took his career seriously, he could actually be a title contender because he looks good even when he's not making an effort. But it is what it is. Mateus Gamrot versus Dan Hooker. This is the first fight my subscribers and I got wrong in terms of safety. My subscribers and I felt like this fight was safe, but not too safe because my subscriber said 53% and I said 51% safe. I feel like Gamrot won that fight, but it's hard to argue for someone who makes it the fight look that close. I actually thought he would dominate, but he didn't. But before I actually move on, there was a judge that gave Taito Ivasa. I forgot his name. Wow, I'm glad they fired him, man. I'm honestly glad they fired him. It has always frustrated me that the UFC allows these judges to make horrible decisions, and there are no repercussions. I'm glad they fired him. Anyway, Gamrod. Um, Gamrod. I don't even know what to say about this dude, man. Dan Hooker looked good. He was still getting beaten up, but at the very least, he was pressing the action and he was relentless, And I think that's what won him the fight. But you never know if there was a judge that actually thought that Taito Ivasa won 3 rounds. I mean, it's not surprising. I'm not saying Dan Hooker didn't deserve to win because it was a close fight, but I felt like Gamrot won. But he still deserves to lose for making it so close, and I apologize. But in any case, this is the first fight my subscribers and I said was safe, and we got wrong. So my subscribers are 4-1. I'm 2-1. That's not a good record. On to the next one. Um, Kai Kara France versus Steve Erceg. My subscribers went with Steve Erceg. I went with Kai Kara France. I broke this fight down so incredibly. If you want to watch my breakdown, go back to my upsets predictions. Like it was like I was watching that particular fight, man. Like I love my predictions, and there's so much value in the things that I say, and it's not even something I prepare written down. The only things I write down is the statistics for, and then the basically statistics for my breakdowns, right? But as far as the information that I say, it's purely because it's purely from memory. I don't write any of the things that I was saying, and you can see it even when I'm speaking. I'm not even referring to anything. So it's mind blowing for me every single, and I do it. It's not like it's a fluke. I did it on one card. I do it on multiple cards, and it's one of the most impressive things. Even for me, watching it back, I'm like, wow. Anyway, my subscribers got this one wrong, and then they said this fight was safe. This is the second unsafe pick they said was safe, and it wasn't. So 4-2. Um, I picked Kai Kara France because I'll make, before I get to the main event, I'll just briefly explain why I picked Kai Kara France. I felt like number one, Steve Erceg couldn't beat a Pantoja who I felt like is past his prime. I actually even said it on my breakdown. I said Pantoja is going to lose his belt in the next two defenses. Either his next defense or the defense after that. Pantoja is done, right? Unless somehow he gets new breath, but he's been looking the same since he fought Moreno. So I think he's going to lose his belt in the next two defenses. Um, so the fact that Steve Erceg couldn't beat that guy, it was red flag number one. Even though a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, he's the champion," I was like, "No, guys, like he failed against like an old Pantoja, like that wasn't good." And that's what I actually said. I said he people are arguing that he won against Albazi, and Erceg is not Albazi on the ground. He was performing really well against Moreno up until the finish to the liver. In terms of striking, Erceg is not Moreno, and we're talking about a motivated Moreno. I'm not going to get too deeply into what I said in my upsets. If you want to see that, go back to the upsets predictions. So I just felt like um, Kai Kara France has faced a better competition. He is really defensively good, both in terms of grappling and striking. And I honestly didn't feel like Steve Erceg would have any form of advantage, and I was confident about that. The only reason I said it's 51% risky is because my subscribers also said it's safe, so I didn't want to confuse the people who watch, especially the shorts on the channel, because I see that a lot of people are confused by the IQ, like IQ rankings, and like there's so many things that I need to explain. So I just didn't want to confuse people. I'll try to explain them actually, starting next week, or rather the predictions for the next card, not this one. But yeah, I got this one correct. I'm proud of myself. The main event, what most people came here for, because when I was talking about Dricus Du Plessis, the numbers were like 60, 70 people watching. Then when I said I'm going to go through the entire card, like the numbers dropped to 30 to 20. Anyway, Dricus Du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya. Let me actually get to that particular fight and break it down. Um, Dricus Du Plessis was not looking great in the first few rounds, even though he won those 2 rounds. Um, I knew that it was going to be very challenging for him to actually find success the more he slowed down, right? But I also knew that Israel Adesanya would get tired in the fourth and fifth round. And that's actually what happened. Um, I think I've spoken about this at length. Maybe I'll do a separate stream for that particular fight. But as a South African man, I'm super 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 happy that we still have a champion. I hope he continues to defend. The only person I'm worried about beating him is Hamza Chimaev, because that guy is a problem. So I don't see Sean Strickland or Robert Whittaker beating Dricus Du Plessis, especially because Dricus Du Plessis has a win over both of them. So they are going to be a little bit more respectful when they fight him, and I don't think that's going to be a smart decision on their part, right? And the only path for them to win is if they take him through striking. I mean, because it can't be on the ground. We saw what he can do on the ground. Um, but also, Israel Adesanya didn't even try to defend that choke. So that's why I'm like, I don't think it's fatigue. I don't know what happens to him, and I don't know why no one has ever noticed it, because Dricus didn't even have the arm wrapped around his neck, right? And like his struggle, he used his right hand to try and slip it in, and then it's like Israel Adesanya actually moved his head to make it easy for him to slide his hand in and get choked. So for me, I don't know what happens to that guy. I don't know what happens to him in the fifth round, to in the fourth and fifth round. But man, he drops significantly. He drops significantly. I heard him saying he's going to continue to perform, but that conviction is very worrying, because I heard it from Kamaru Usman, I heard it from Tony Ferguson. So hopefully Israel Adesanya and Kamaru Usman do not stay too long in the game, and then it ends up affecting their health. They've made enough money. They don't need to compete in the sport. They should actually be happy with what they have accomplished and actually try and go build other things. I saw Israel Adesanya has apartments, and like they've done well for themselves. So I don't understand why they're still trying to fight when clearly age has caught up with them. I don't feel like Israel Adesanya will ever be a champion again. I don't feel like Kamaru Usman will ever be a champion again, especially when you look at the division. Let me not say that. I feel like both Bilal Muhammad and Kamaru Usman are around the same age, so maybe Kamaru Usman can still become a champion, right? But I feel like they shouldn't stay too long in the game, largely because they just, I don't, the glory, I guess maybe the glory is so good that you don't want to leave. Valentina Shevchenko should also retire, whether she wins or not. She's past her prime. I don't think she's going to win. She should leave. And that's one of the reasons why I respect people like Habib as well as Amanda Nunes for actually knowing when to leave, because it's gonna get brutal for them. Let me respond to your comments, so that I can love and leave you. I'll probably maybe do another live stream tomorrow. My final predictions for the upcoming card will be on Wednesday around this time. Upsets predictions are on Friday or Saturday. Normally it's Friday or Saturday. It's Friday if I don't have anything else. If I have plans on during the weekend, I normally do them on Friday. But if I don't have any other plans, then I do them on Saturday, and I prefer it on Saturday. So yeah, but my final predictions live. Obviously, my final predictions are already out on the shorts section of the channel. Um, but on the live section, I'm going to be doing them Saturday. And please, guys, go vote. The subscribers picks and everything like that. Community section. Make sure you go there and vote. Let me respond to your comments so that I can bounce. Francis led the heavyweight division twice and knocking them out to get the title. I don't think Francis knocked out, no, led the division, but I think he was a really good champion. That's Yeah, that's boxing. Very relevant reply. It actually took him becoming a star in the MMA to get that opportunity. Yo, Connor versus Nate at middleweight. Who wants to see that? No, bro, fighting isn't exactly rocket science. Like coaches say, only certain amount of moves from any position. Yeah, I agree. Complicated, but not as sophisticated as people make it out to be. It is complicated, man. If it is that easy, then please give us your predictions for every single card and make sure that you don't get any of them wrong. Right? Because it's so easy, right? It's so easy to do it. There's this channel that tracks about 72 channels that make predictions. Guys, making predictions is hard. It's hard. I think DDP would smoke Hamza bad. Tweezy, I honestly disagree, but we'll see. What do you mean? Francis didn't lap the division. He was one title defense. No, I think what he means is that Francis actually fought a couple of people even before becoming champion. I think when he beat Stipe, he was fighting Stipe for the second time. But yeah, he didn't lap the division. That's actually what I said. Yeah, casual. He knocked everyone out on his way to get the first title shot. Lost to Stipe, then knocked everyone out to get back there. Okay, that's actually what I was actually explaining now. In my opinion, he is. Everyone called him the uncrowned champ, and that he was the lock of the century against Kai Kara France. He had fought the zero good strikers before Kai Kara France. I agree with that. I can see that Africa is bigger than the sub-Saharan region. Easy needs to grow up and learn Africa is a continent, not a country. I get that. What I mean by King of Africa is he's his biggest, baddest, is the biggest, baddest fighter out of the continent. Look at his story. It's crazy. Didn't even start MMA till he was like 18. Highest power in MMA. He's the king. Okay, Bogdan. Echon Shelby. We are not allowed to say anti-easy things on this stream. Um, I never said that, man. Bogdan never said that. I'm South African, dude. Like, but I feel like it's important to be impartial in everything that you do. I'm very impartial. I can see both sides of the coin. The problem with you is that you're like F easy. Like everything he was saying was had no like there was no validity in what he said. If and then you said that there was no reason for him to apologize, and yet the champion, the person who actually said those things, apologized. So if the person who said those things apologized, then why is it crazy for anyone else to feel like there are two sides to that? It's not just, you can't just see one side of a certain situation and be like, yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. Like, I'm South African, and obviously I side with my South African compatriot, but I don't believe in being on one on any one side. I'm on the side of what makes sense. That's how I look at everything. So if you follow my channel, you should know that you can say whatever you want. I just appreciate people, or rather, I expect people to be a little bit more impartial or respectful. That's all I ask. It's not like I was saying, don't say anything. Like I'm not. I would never defend the things that Easy was doing. Like once again, I'm South African, right? So it's not like I'm here saying, yeah, you can't say this and that. I never said that. So I don't know what you mean by that. Anyway, put DDP in the cage with Francis. That's the king, bro. Nothing complicated about it. Wow. Can't wait to fade Tom Nolan. I can't wait to fade Tom. Oh, yeah, man. Honestly, the worst minus 150 of all time. Yeah, I agree. Tom Nolan is bad, man. In my opinion, Francis is the closest to the most complete best fighter ever. Damn, this guy loves Francis, man. For example, John lacks power. You can't just all of a sudden have power, but Francis can attain a kick to the knee or Okay, Santos really disappointed me. I mean, it's women's MMA, so like I expected it. Kulibao also really disappointed me in my. I get you, man. I get you. I'm sorry about that, but it was risky. I know. Like, yeah, John is crafty, but you can't be the best ever without the one touch power. It's almost a disrespect to the combat elites plus pads. Tom's closer than John. Damn, this guy is making a case for for Francis and Tom Aspinall. Josh Kulibau was an embarrassment. They're trying to kick a guy's leg when he's on the floor, when he could have just stand him up. I'm sorry if it sounds bitter, but I dislike stupidity. I'm with you. I'm with you, Sean Shelby. I'm with you. Ramos gang. LOL. 90% were on Kulibau. Yeah. Kulibau. Ah, Tweezy. Kulibam. Were you streaming from one cub? What do you mean? Um, Cut Taffa for being a bum. Yeah, him and Walker are in the same club, man. Jump in there with the junior, bro. He'll have you running for the fences. Of course. I mean, that argument is always so funny to me because what are you saying? I'm in the legal field. I'm in the legal field, right? Can Tafa jump into the court or into a court battle with me? Like he'll be running for the fence. Like, what do you mean? Like, obviously that's his job. He's going to be good at it. I mean, he can't do my job. I can't do his job. That argument is so okay. I don't want to call anyone any names who's on my stream, but I'm like, but dude, it doesn't make sense, dude. Like, I'm in the legal field. Can he actually do any legal work better than I can? No. The same way I can't get into the octagon and fight him. Like, it doesn't. That argument is so. Anyway, I don't know. KO Tafa in 30 seconds, but at KO Tafa in 30 seconds. Oh, you were talking to Tweezy, but I think he was talking about me. LOL, who are you? We can all say this and that, but you're not that. Okay, maybe it wasn't about me, but still, I feel like the point stands. Oh yeah, I'll KO Usyk and KO Usyk in 10 seconds too. Calm down. Crazy man, I get crazy man. Whoever jumps online and says I'll kill a UFC heavyweight is literally the definition of a wannabe bum. Okay, you won't even kill and you're that weak. Bro, you just called Ngannou the most complete fighter ever. Good one. I'll kill Francis and Martin Babocol and AJ all together. Oh, look at me, I'm tough. Wow. I'm gonna call it how it is. Caio Borralho is not like the other fighting nerds. Jared Cannonier will break Caio's soul. Remember I said this. Remember, guys. Okay, I'm inclined to agree a little bit, not completely. It's getting dark in South Africa, guys. I know some of you are from America, Canada. I saw so many people from different places. So I'm going to have to end the stream. I'm going to try and reply to all of you, but the comments just keep coming. Um, so if I start to disappear, I'm going to end the stream. I'm not using any lights, I'm using natural light. So if it disappears, I also disappear. So it'll be pointless. You'll be seeing this gold tooth as I'm talking. So if the sun disappears, I'm also going to log off. Um, Here's in my opinion. I can't he do it? Okay. He can sub you. He can wrestle, but he chooses to KO. John can't KO. He doesn't put anyone to sleep. Okay, name the last guy Ngannou subbed. Gun can't do a damn thing on the ground. Ngannou took him down. Big whoop. Okay, it's a different conversation in the comment section. Um, it was before UFC. That's how fucking gangster has been in the UFC. But to be honest, the Kimura's Francis has done crazy fast. He cost a guy a fight earlier that night that should have been fired then. So now he can sub anyone, right? When Francis Conro's fighting in other organization, he got subbed. I don't know, what are you guys talking about? He can, he can, but thing is, his efficiency isn't the KO. Like you don't understand. It's easier to end it with one punch than take down, mount the sub, etc. That's why he's more advanced than John. Doesn't need to kick your knee. Wow. One kick to your knee can end a fight. Your point makes no sense, Kusha. Hey, you guys are arguing, yeah? This is fun to read. Doesn't need to take pads and poke eyes. It's actually easier to end it with extreme power than go through all that. Haha, right, Hayden? Yeah, can, but you can still fight with an injured knee. Can still fight when you're unconscious. K Kara France, the uncrowned champ. You didn't answer why he didn't sub a gun. Who can't do a damn thing on the mat since he is so well rounded. What are you guys arguing about? This argument is so interesting. Even poking eyes, you can still kill a guy after being poked in the eyes. Justin showed that against the lanes. At KO Kushan 3 seconds. Tizzy, Tizzy, hey, it's you guys. Subscriber fight. Let's set it up. Let's set it up. Subscribers fight. That would be interesting. Bro, Francis had torn ligaments in his knee. Wasn't 100. That was a testament to him. He is a Francis fanboy. No point arguing with him. Everyone but Francis is trash. Okay. What was the overall record for his predictions? My overall record for this card is 8-4. Yes, I got four. I got eight correct. But still, I was profitable. If you had put $100 on every single fight that I predicted, you would have made money. I'm not saying that's what anyone should do. I always explain, try to do your own research so that it can help you. My analysis should be, the purpose of it should be to confirm what you have researched, as opposed to just listening to what I'm saying and then going off of that. Even though I try to be as accurate as possible, it's always better to just make sure that you've done your own research and then use my analysis to confirm the research that you have already done for yourself so that you can be a little bit more accurate, as opposed to just listening to me and then say, yeah, I'm going to go with that, because then it's a blind following. um, and I understand some people who do that. It's based off of the fact that a lot of my predictions, especially the ones that I feel, let me not even say that, because the past 3 weeks, like, I've gotten a lot of fights correct, but still, like, for example, Dudakova and Elvis Brenner, I felt like were my locks, and they still lost, and I still got 11 out of 13. So but my point is, that's a pure example. I got 11 correct, but I said the two people who lost, I was pretty confident in them, and then you could have been more successful if you didn't listen to what I said about the locks. So what I'm telling you is, even though my predictions are accurate a lot of the time, even though my breakdowns are really good, it always helps to actually do your own individual research to help you make my prediction should just be, and my breakdown should just be like a confirmation. Let me continue to respond. I'm just proving my point, and you're taking personal. For some reason, only thing you proved is that you are biased. Izzy gave away that fight. DDP got lucky. Wow. I broke it down, guys. Izzy always gives up in the fourth and fifth round. It wasn't luck. DDP won that fight. Izzy is breakable, and I've seen it happen. Just that a lot of people are so demoralized by losing the first 3 rounds that they don't even realize that if they actually press him, they have a shot at actually winning. So I don't know what you mean about luck. So are you saying Dricus Du Plessis has not lost in the UFC since he got into the UFC? So are you saying it's luck? That's the same argument that people make, that Habib is not that good. If it's that easy, then why are people finding it so difficult to get into the UFC, beat all these bums, and then take the championship? It's easy, right? So there was no luck involved. Dricus Du Plessis won that fight, and he finished him. And it wasn't, if he finished him in the first round, then maybe I could maybe potentially agree with what you're saying and say, yeah, maybe it was luck. But it was, he lasted 4 rounds or 3.5 rounds and actually finished him in the fourth round, which shows that he was winning those rounds in the scorecards. Dricus Du Plessis was winning the fight. So what do you mean it's luck? Luck would have been if Dricus Du Plessis was losing and then after that he got the submission. That would have been luck. That wasn't luck. He actually beat Israel Adesanya convincingly. That's why everyone is now saying Dricus Du Plessis is the best fighter now, currently in the middleweight, because he beat Izzy convincingly. There was no luck involved there. Um, but yeah, I'm a fan of Francis 100. A fan. Okay. Are people being racist saying white people can't be from Africa? They're not saying you can't be from Africa. And I explained it a bit. The point is, Africa is associated with race. It's the same as India, it's the same as China, it's the same as Korea, it's the same as Japan. There are other countries that are not, or continents, whatever you may call them, that are not associated with race. Countries like Australia, America, Canada, they don't have race in them. So you can, anyone from anywhere who looks like anything can be American, but I can't, even if I'm a South African, even if I'm an Indian, for example, citizen, I'm a citizen in India, I can't say I'm Indian, right? Because it's associated with race. But that's not what Dricus Du Plessis was saying, and he explained it in the octagon that that's not what I was saying. So that's what basically the issue was there. New era in the middleweight division, yeah, they're all badass. I agree. If it went the whole five, I had Adesanya taking it. Nah, in the scorecards he was losing. He had that the third was winning and the fourth I feel. Nah, he was losing in the scorecards, man. I had it 2-1 Adesanya going into the fourth. Um, nah, he was losing. Check the scorecards. Did it pretty surprise me? I had Izzy by TKO. I knew that could happen. Also, I also said that it was a very risky fight, so I also saw a path to victory for Izzy, but I picked Dricus because I felt like he had more ways to win, and that's what happened. Guy's tank just wills his way to wins. There's nothing more effective than a KO. Least energy spent than taking someone down and working towards a sub. Probably, but the fact is you can actually still get the same results with a KO or with a submission. How is this dude? How is with his predictions? I think I answered that, and that's what people want to see. People out cold. Okay, I knew if DDP won, it would be a submission, since Rob and Vittori found his back rather easily, so I wasn't that shocked. But just thought Izzy would keep his usual submission defense and survive again. Yeah, speak for yourself, Kusha. I watch it for all disciples. Yeah, I like round game at Chelsea, but I am speaking for the majority. Oh yeah, I don't know. Yeah, if it's MMA, guys. There's a sport called kickboxing. If you just want to see people strike, go watch Glory Kickboxing. Right? It's not that hard. It's true. People rather see someone head taken off, but yeah, I like seeing the sub. Okay. Tweezy submissions. It can also make people go out cold. Kusha. Yeah. Didn't say it doesn't. Usually they tap, but you can't tap out of a KO to the jaw. Okay, you said people want to. By the way, Kusha, yes, people usually tap, but Stuart Nicole was out cold. So, what do you say to that? You said people want to see them out cold, which subs can. We literally saw it with Nicole Aguila on Saturday. Yeah, that's the point actually I was making. You're confusing making predictions with what the game is. Your predictions have nothing to do with what's going on. That's delusional. Okay, Kusha. Kusha came here to fight, so let's let him fight. That's fine. I could go and predict the chess match, for example, but that's got nothing to do with how the game works. So, what's your argument then, Kusha? What's your argument? Because that's my argument. So maybe we're talking about two different things. I think maybe you should make your argument. If I end up leaving the stream before you respond or before I see your response, then comment in the stream. Um, let let me guess, Kusha, you picked Francis over Joshua. That's what fans get wrong. They treat it like their future predictions have a stake in anything, and predictions don't mean shit. It's literally left or right or draw. Yeah, if it was that easy, well, no, you're confusing yourself. You're saying it's not about predictions, and then you come back and say your predictions are nothing. Like, what's your argument? Like, what's your argument? Because if you want to argue about the difficulty of making predictions, we can argue about that. But if you're going to say, when I make an argument, if you are then going to change it and say, no, that's not what I'm talking about, then what are we doing? Predictions equal money. Were you born yesterday? Yeah, I'm like, what's your argument, dude? Like, pick a lane and let's have a conversation. The thing about me, and even if you see in my comment section, I never delete anyone's comment. I'm open to actually criticism. I'm open to having a conversation. Even if you trash me, I'm going to ask you to be specific about your trashing because you can't say I suck, but you don't know why you're saying that. I always challenge people who criticize, and if the criticism is actually warranted for, I actually accept it and make adjustments. If you look at my channel, my initial videos were not that great. A couple of people criticize, especially the statistics video, the statistics videos on the short section, and they were like, what's the point of these statistics if there are no predictions? And then I decided to add the predictions to the statistics video. I take criticism really well, but if your criticism does not have any point, you're just saying mean things without a point, then I mean, what's the point? Like, that's the point, you know. I called it gambling. Bro, I used to people getting salty because I make it clear. They reply with salty questions. No, you don't make it clear, Kusha. You have different arguments, and then when we try to respond to your arguments, you change the argument. Oh, no, that's not what I'm talking about. So no one is salty. So I guess predictions aren't so useless, right? Yes, gambling is gambling, but it's nothing to do with how a fight works. That's crazy. You see, that's the problem. You are arguing two arguments. So you're saying predictions are not. On one hand, you're saying predictions are useless and pointless, and whatever the case is, they don't influence a fight. And then on the other hand, you're saying predict, like, it's easy to predict a fight. It's left, or right, or draw. That, so like, pick a lane, because when I argue a specific point, you're like, nah, that's not what I'm talking about. And then once we try to address what you're talking about, you go back to another, like. Anyway, hi from London. How are you doing, man? Welcome to the stream. It's going down in the comment section. I wish I had more time. Yeah, and I'm sure my battery is about to run out. I'm on 22% right now. I've been streaming for like an hour and 11 minutes. So, but I'm going to. I told you guys I'm going to leave once I disappear on the screen. So I see myself slowly disappearing. But let me continue to respond. Bro, just cause you pick a fight doesn't mean you can fight. A blind man could pick a winner. So, you see, that's what I'm talking about. Two comments ago, you were like, you're not talking about predictions. Like, predictions do not influence how a fight is going to play out. And then now you're back saying a blind man can. Pick an argument, man. I'll entertain you. Don't worry, I have time. Even if it's in the comment section, I'll respond to you. LOL, right? I'm obviously just joking when I say I don't. I'd kill UFC guys easily. I think DDP fights Strickland in South Africa. UFC is missing out on a massive market. Yeah, man. I also actually said that when I was breaking down the fight, that with the whole thing that was happening with Miss South Africa, they missed an opportunity to gain momentum from that. So hopefully they come to South Africa. But I think Dana White said that if Dricus Du Plessis actually won that fight, there's a high probability that they are going to come to South Africa. I also heard the minister, I actually mentioned this, the minister of sports, arts and culture in South Africa, saying he's going to meet up with Dana White to bring the UFC to South Africa. So the probability of Dricus Du Plessis defending his belt in South Africa next is highly possible, especially because I heard the minister actually actively saying he's going to pursue the UFC to bring it to South Africa. And also on top of that, Dana has publicly spoken about Whether, like he said, the fight between Israel Adesanya and Dricus Du Plessis influences his decision on whether or not he comes to South Africa. He's arguing because you can predict a fight. That means fighting is extremely complicated. I beg to differ. Okay, TND, you look like a blazed bro. You've been smoking. I don't smoke. My eyes do that. Um, so, do South Africans accept DDP as their champ? Does Izzy's comments have any validity? Now, South Africa is a blend of a variety of people, um, and there's no criticism whatsoever that I've seen so far. So, South Africa, yes, it does wholeheartedly accept Dricus Du Plessis as their champion. I haven't seen any negative comments, except maybe there are some comments that Dricus Du Plessis made before he became a champion about he was saying there's a farmers genocide. In South Africa, there's this thing that white people are saying, well, there's a genocide of them specifically. So that's the only comment that people had a problem with, because there are a lot more, significantly more black people dying in South Africa, and then he only spoke about that particular part, which didn't make sense. But apart from that, no one is even. Everyone is celebrating. Basically, that's what I'm saying. So no one is disputing or is salty or is being negative in any way, shape, or form. Um, Until the last fight that was ends by oblique kick. Hi, Kusha. There's so many comments, man. I don't know if I'm going to be able to respond to everyone. I'll try. I'll try to. If you want to continue this conversation, I reply to all my. I reply to every comment on my channel. So if you want to continue this conversation, please comment down below. I'll try to respond to every single person. I make sure that if you go through my entire channel, every single comment has a response. If I haven't responded, it means the comment was made 24 within 24 hours, because every 24 hours I make sure that I respond to every single comment. So if maybe you are watching this stream after I'm done streaming, just make sure you comment down below, and I'll make sure I respond to you. Always make a new comment every time you want to get my attention, because unfortunately I'm unable to reply to the comments that I've replied to already, because there are so many comments. I can only see new comments. That's the only way I'm able to reply to every single comment. But until next time, I'm going to do my final predictions Wednesday. Until then, I love and appreciate all of you. Thank you for always being there. And thank you for 11,000 subscribers, man. I didn't even foresee this happening. I was confident in what I was doing, but it's crazy still to feel like what I'm doing is working. To be able to achieve this, especially in analysis and statistics, it's a crazy feat to achieve in such a short period of time. Um, Makes me feel smart, you know. If 11,000 people care about what I have to say or what I think, it makes me feel really good. I love and appreciate all of you. Until next time, deuces. See you in the comment section.